Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. We are back. I am back. Thank you for tuning in for episode number 140. I'm your host, Shaun Holko, alongside Mr. Jaevon Toddy, Mrs. Alex Dent, and Mr. Kevin Dent is here as well, as he just had to take Blue out to go pee. That's his dog. If you don't already know, you should know by now. He is an integral part of this podcast. But we're back for episode number 140, April 14th, 2025, as my friend Keith would like to say, the year of our Lord. And we're starting things off, guys, with a lot of NBA content today. Maybe we'll sprinkle in a little bit of college football at the end, maybe a little WNBA. As you can see, I'm wearing my New York Liberty Breanna Stewart jersey today because today was the WNBA draft. Paige Beckers just went number 1 overall to the Dallas Wings. And so if we have some time at the end, we're going to get to the WNBA and college football. But today's episode, we are focusing on the NBA. And so, Jaevon, I want to start things off with you. How are you doing on this Monday evening? If you unmute, I'm going to unmute you.
I got.
There you go.
Hey. A couple quick shout outs I want to do. Shout out to Pop's dad's birthday today. So, happy 60th, Pop.
Big month.
Laugh at me for this one, but and also want to give a shout out to brother Frank. He just won Golden Gloves this past weekend at 165, I think. So he's going to Golden Glove Nationals, which is in Oklahoma next weekend, or not next weekend. I think next month. So he's going to be fighting bunch of people over there, national tournament. Other than that, doing pretty good. Excited for playoffs. A lot of things are happening. NBA playoffs. It's getting down to the final countdown. So excited, very excited.
Yes, as am I. Alex, how are you feeling about the NBA playoffs? I guess the play-in is technically a part of the playoffs, so it starts tomorrow. How are you feeling, Alex?
I am excited. I'm really excited for this year. I think I don't want to say there's a lot of horses in the race, but I think there could be some upsets. And I'm interested to see how some of these teams compete. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, as am I. With Kevin not here just yet, I'm currently on the panel with 2 Boston Celtics fans, so 2 reigning NBA champions. And so I am outnumbered. The Celtics are going to go for back-to-back. We'll see if they can accomplish it, or if Alex kind of alluded to, if there's some upsets, if there are other horses that emerge in this race. It'll be interesting, and we're going to preview it all today here on episode number 140 of Stats Over Politics. But before we get into 2 championship head coaches in the NBA being fired within the last week, oh, Jesus Christ. Kevin, okay, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you haven't seen him yet, but what I just saw in the preview screen below, the sin if you're a Kings fan, and I'm saying a Sacramento Kings fan, not an LA Kings fan, the hockey team. But now, without further ado, I'll throw him on the screen. Here's Kevin Dent wearing a LeBron James.
Anthony Edwards, PJ Edwards, Mike Edwards, Lakers in 4.
Oh man. Well, Kevin, how are you feeling today?
I don't think Wes is gonna take this. He's gonna feel some type of.
Wes been trying to take my money. He's like, put money on him. Like, nah, bro, I'm not doing that.
Does he want to put money on if it's in 4 or not? I bet you that's probably what it is.
No, he wants to take him straight up. I was like, I don't want to do that to you, Wes. It's the Luka Doncic show now. So it's great, man. Can't complain. Shaun's not too happy with me. We were talking pre-show about the Sacramento Kings, and we get 1 extra game. So, congratulations. Go Mavs. We need a top 12 pick. So how do we get there? We get there.
Yeah, and I understand the logic and the reasoning behind you feeling that way, Kevin. I mean, the Kings, it would be such a Kings move for them to not make the playoffs and not get their first-round pick because it gets conveyed to Atlanta. Not even Kings. It would be total Kangs, Kangz. But
wait, so are y'all rooting for Atlanta to lose tomorrow? Or
well, no, it doesn't have it. Our pick doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's only us.
Okay.
Yeah, so what Kevin is alluding to is the Kings' first round pick. It would go to Atlanta. It would have gone to Atlanta last year, but it was top 14 protected. This year, it's top 12 protected. So if the Kings lose, then they're going to have a top 12 pick. It'll go and roll to next year where it's top 10 protected. And after that, I think it might turn into a second round pick or there's no protections at all. And so regardless, right now, it doesn't have anything to do with Atlanta. It's just how they could benefit with a Kings win tomorrow or on Wednesday against the Mavericks at Golden One Center. And that all dates back to the Kevin Huerter trade, which was great for the Beam team year, and the next year and a half, not so great, as Kevin indicates with his thumbs down. Before we get started, guys, here on episode number 140, I just wanted to let the listeners know why I was not on episode 139. We've been taking a little bit of a hiatus after football season here on Stats Over Politics. I missed the last episode with the three of you as we focused on NBA content. But the reason for that is because I had to say goodbye to a member of my family. For those of you who aren't animal lovers, you may not see this as significant. But for me, I truly feel like I lost a family member. I wanted to say this because I wanted to address it, but I'm going to try not to get emotional. Basically, I had to say goodbye. You know what? Rest in peace to my guy Bubbles, who was 13 years old. Yeah, a boy dog named Bubbles. I didn't choose the name. I got him when he was 6 weeks old. He responded to it. The rest is history. But I'm 26. I spent half of my life with him. It was really hard to say goodbye. Yeah. I'm going to stop myself there because if I talk anymore, then I'm going to get emotional, and I'm just going to leave it there. But rest in peace to my guy Bubbles. He was the best dog. Anyways, guys, it's hard for me to move on, but I'm the host of the show, so I'll do my best. Now let's get to some content here with Michael Malone and Mike Budenholzer, formerly known as Mike Malone and Mike Budenholzer. Now he wants to be addressed as Michael Malone. Denver Nuggets head coach who won a championship in 2023 and the Phoenix Suns head coach, Mike Budenholzer, each got canned within the last week. Mike Budenholzer, the news came out today after the NBA regular season ended yesterday and the Suns missed the playoffs with 3 future Hall of Famers on their team. And as we know, Mike Buden, Alex, I see that face. You should not be disrespecting Bradley Beal like that. But anyways, as we keep things pushing, Michael Malone, 2023 NBA champion. Mike Budenholzer, 2021 NBA champion with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now he came to Phoenix. It didn't work out. And so, Kevin, I'm going to toss this to you first as a Sacramento Kings fan who likely, as myself, was very upset when Michael Malone was fired from Sacramento a long time ago, over a decade ago. And it all dates back to DeMarcus Cousins getting viral meningitis. He was out for 5 games. Kings lose all those games, and Vivek used that as the opportunity to fire Michael Malone, who goes on to win an NBA championship. Meanwhile, us Kings fans just want to see them win a playoff series. Anyways, Michael Malone gets fired by the Denver Nuggets. Mike Budenholzer gets fired by the Phoenix Suns. Kevin, what was your reaction to each of those?
So before we get into it, I got a quick little trivia. Can you guys, in the last 60 years, there have been 2 coaches or 2 teams that have had in-season coaching changes and won the NBA championship. Can you guys give me those 2 teams?
Frank Vogel,
was it
the Lakers?
Wait,
No.
has one been recent?
Well, one of them is David Black getting fired by the Cavs and Tyronn Lue taking over, and they won in 2016. That one's easy.
More.
There's one like in the 70s, right?
The last 40 years.
80s. So was it?
It's a 2000 team. So you don't have to go to black and white. 2000 team.
Pistons?
Oh, damn.
No,
New Jersey
Who
Nets.
else won in the 2000s?
I'll give you a specific year, 2006.
Oh, the Miami Heat, really? Oh, yeah.
I thought they had
They
that.
hired Steve Van Gundy and hired Sean's boy, Pat Riley.
Yeah,
He said
technically.
J.J. Redick's going to be next Pat Riley, so I for sure thought Shaun was going to get that.
Well, so I like when Alex said the Pistons, I was thinking to myself, no, I don't think so. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, it wasn't Greg Popovich. It wasn't Phil Jackson. It wasn't Doc Rivers. And so I was narrowing it down. You didn't give me enough time. I was narrowing it down. But yeah, I remember that. 2006, the Miami Heat. And then they obviously went on to win the championship. And Kevin, that year didn't technically Van Gundy got fired. Pat Riley briefly took over, and then obviously they went on to Eric Spoelstra right after that. And so, yeah, that was a great question right there. But Kevin, before we get your reaction to Michael Malone and Mike Budenholzer being fired, I just have to say the Stockton Kings just won the NBA G League championship. So congratulations to the Stockton Kings.
At least somebody in Sacramento's winning something.
Hey, 209 represented. But Kevin, what was your reaction to the Mikes being fired?
So Mike Budenholzer, the Phoenix Suns, I feel bad for.
Didn't they start 9-1?
I couldn't tell you what they started, but I remember a couple years ago, Kevin Durant's toe on the line. Everyone talks about that, but nobody talks about the Phoenix Suns run to the NBA Finals, up 2-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks, and they just crumbled. Giannis in 6, ended with a 55-piece nugget. The Phoenix Suns are now paying 3 coaches for the next 9 years.
Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy.
Mike Budenholzer, Frank Vogel, and Monty Williams. There are 3 coaches that are going to they don't even have to coach. They are sitting on their ass, getting paid. You now have Devin Booker coming out. I played hard the very last game because this might be my last game. Shams already said Kevin Durant will not be playing in Phoenix next year. It kind of makes you think, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges. Like, it's crazy now to think that they were all on the same team. And we always know when you trade for a guy like Kevin Durant, you're gutting your team. And they still had a chance. They were still able to do that and keep a guy like DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. And then what do? You double down and go get Bradley Beal. And what has that done for you? Nothing. So I remember in the beginning of this season, or maybe last season, the new GM came out and said 31 other teams would pray for our roster, would kill to have our roster. And now looking at it, 11th seed, you're paying 3 coaches. The Kevin Durant shamble just catapulted. Kevin Durant is up there with the LeBron James and the Kobe Bryants. They're getting coaches canned. And at least the Kobe's and LeBrons are winning rings. Kevin Durant hasn't made it close without number 30 with him. So it's sad to say that Kevin Durant is going to go down as a coach killer. But just like he is with Michael Malone, Russell Westbrook is a coach killer just as much as Kevin Durant. Everywhere he has played, the coach has been fired. And there's a lot coming out that the team wasn't happy with the defense. They weren't happy with Russ getting all his attention. They weren't happy with KCP getting their love. I think we as a basketball world need to be okay with people just having magical runs. They did it. The Nuggets did it. The Bucks did it. And we have to be okay with them probably never going back. Michael Malone took a 2nd-round draft pick during a Taco Bell commercial. 3 MVPs and arguably having his best season of his career. And you fire that guy 4 games before the playoffs. A week before that, we saw the Memphis Grizzlies fire their coach 9 games before the playoffs. And it's like, when we talked about that, if the goal was to can the guy anyways, why not let him finish? If the goal is he's getting canned, championship or nothing. Like in The Last Dance, they told him, you're done. Phil, you're out of here. We can go 82-0 and win a championship. You will not be the coach next year. And if that was the plan, why not let him finish? Because now it's like you're showing your fans and your organization that you don't give a shit. You think that this team has peaked and they want to execute on this duo, but they haven't. Like that year they won the championship, some people could say it was a fluke. Joker has not had an all-NBA teammate, an all-star teammate, an all-defensive teammate, and they won a ring. You should sit back and build Mike Malone a fucking statue. But no, they can him. And now he now is getting paid for the next 2 seasons to sit on his ass. So it's going to be interesting to see. I would love to see these coaches land on their feet. But as far as I think Budenholzer kind of got the short end of the stick. Mike Malone, you can definitely say that they had some lapses on defense. They had made some questionable decisions. But what people don't understand is the coach doesn't have final say on shit on the roster. That's the GM and the owner. Mike just coaches what he gets. And when you let guys go like KCP, now you got to hope guys like Christian Braun and Julius Strother can come along and do what you expected them to be. And that's just not the case. So it's really disappointing as an NBA culture because, Coach, it's become an NFL. It's a year-to-year basis. We don't care what you've done for us 4 or 5 years ago. If you're not winning now, you're gone. And what does that show? Because Toddy was talking about Michael Malone to the Kings, and then he was talking about the Grizzlies coach to the Kings. I was like, why would you want to go somewhere? You break a 16-year playoff drought, coach of the year, and you still get fired. So it's like you have to be it's NBA championship or bust every season. We saw Luka get traded. We've seen coaches get fired 3 games before the playoffs. The NBA is in fucking shambles. And as an NBA fan, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, and as I said in our group text, there's no way Michael Malone is coming back to Sacramento while Vivek Ranadive is the owner. Like, Pete D'Alessandro may be gone. The whole regime may be gone. But that one guy is still here. And Michael Malone cannot stand that man. And so why would he come back to Sacramento? And Kevin, to your point, they have Mike Brown, the first coach to lead you to the playoffs in 17 years. And even in the season in which they missed the playoffs in his second year, they had a winning record. And now the corpse of Michael Malone just won 40 games. And so the Kings did that for the 3rd consecutive season. And I said Michael Malone, I meant to say Mike Brown. Too many Mikes. Michael Malone, Mike Budenholzer, Mike Brown. Nevertheless, and also I wanted to, Kevin, when you were talking about Russell Westbrook, it just instantly made me think of a meme. You guys might have seen this meme. The listeners might have seen this meme. But Russell Westbrook, the coach killer, I love Russell Westbrook, but, this meme has been making the rounds, and you can now add the Nuggets door to this as he's knocking on the Lakers door.
OKC and in Washington.
I mean, to be honest, I don't even.
That didn't get fired was Ty Lue. Everyone else, the coach has been fired.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, we need it. This is an old meme, but it was recirculating. We should probably add a couple doors to it. Obviously, Ty Lue didn't get fired, but now you have the Nuggets firing Michael Malone. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting. Michael Malone just seemed to go down with the ship, and the ship being the Russell Westbrook ship. And for Mike Budenholzer, just didn't work out. I really don't understand how it didn't work out to at least get into the play-in, other than the Suns obviously quit on him. And that is just a toxic environment in general. Kevin Durant had the opportunity to go back to the Warriors or to even go elsewhere at the trade deadline. And he said, no, I don't want to get traded mid-season. Maybe he just wanted an early vacation. He's got a couple rings, I guess. But Alex, what did you think about Michael Malone and Mike Budenholzer, 2 championship head coaches from the last 5 years, each being fired by their respective teams?
So I'll go with Budenholzer first. I feel like if you fire a coach after his first year, he hasn't really reached his max. And I think that, coupled with the horrible roster the Suns have, right? Like Kevin stated earlier, they had that run because they had players that they drafted, that they developed, then they traded for a few, and then they got in some free agents, and then they got this really good core, this young core, with maybe some veterans. But I thought it was good enough for them to be a threat in the West, at least. That was in 2021, at least until like 2025, right? Now, right? And I feel like the Bradley Beal trade was awful. I'm not trading for a man unless you're Steph Curry or LeBron James if you have a trade clause in there. You're not, Bradley Beal's not that type of player to be having no trade clause in there and be like, oh no, you can't trade me. And the fact that
LeBron is the only other one. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just have to say LeBron is literally the only other player in the NBA who has a no trade clause.
And he deserves it. Like, he deserves it. But for Bradley Beal to sit here and be like, I don't want to get traded when this team is falling apart at its pieces, right? I'm just like, okay, yeah, the team definitely gave up on Mike Budenholzer, so I feel really bad. And then kind of going into Mike Malone, I don't know why you would just, like you guys stated, just wait until the end of the playoffs. I think the Nuggets could at least made it to the second round. Maybe Western Conference if they get lucky, right? And then if they lose, okay, then you fire him. But at least you guys made a deep run. I don't think they're gonna make a deep run. They might get out of the fourth or the first round because they play what, the Clippers? And the Clippers,
it just comes down to Kawhi. If Kawhi don't play, they're gonna lose.
I can't stand Kawhi because when he plays, he is amazing, but he just doesn't play, and you can't count him out. So I don't even know if they can make it out the first round. But yeah, I just think you can't. I feel like with the tenure he had, 10 years, I just think these owners, maybe I don't know much about the NFL, right? But I just feel like owners nowadays are just they're nitpicky, and they just want, like, they're just trying to see this as a business, right? Like the whole thing with the Luka trade, right? Look, the last game he just played with the Mavericks, he didn't want to leave. He bled that blue and white and like silver they had. He was never gonna go. And so I just feel like these owners now are just like, you know what? If you're not gonna give us the results that we want every single year, then you're out of here, like they did with Mike Brown earlier. So I can't believe it.
Yeah, you guys covered on the last episode how the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins. That was a shocker. And then to me, Michael Malone was an even bigger shocker. With less than 5 games remaining in the season, they lose 4 games in a row, and they're the 4 seed, and they let him go. And Alex, to your point, they could still make a run, and they just might make a run. And also, when it comes to the Clippers, yes, Kawhi is the X factor. He played 47 minutes yesterday in a win at Golden State, which secured them a playoff spot and kept them out of the play-in. But from what I saw on Friday night, and this is recency bias, but what I saw Friday night when the Clippers came to Sacramento and they beat the Kings, James Harden looked like vintage James Harden, the beard.
Nice.
And as Jaevon is indicating, he was cooking. And so, Toddy, if you could, just give us your reaction to the firing of Michael Malone and Mike Budenholzer. And Kevin, I'm going to go use the bathroom real quick. If Toddy's response is finished before I get back, bring us into the plan, please.
All right.
So Toddy,
I mean, you guys pretty much all hit the nail on the head. I mean, the Michael Malone firing was very blindsiding, I feel like, to the entire NBA community, the NBA world. Everybody was like, whoa. I think when Mike Brown was fired, Michael Malone was like one of those coaches that came out and said, like, nobody's safe in this league. He was a guy that literally won Coach of the Year, this, that, and the third. Give him all of his praises. And Michael Malone literally won a championship in Denver. And as Kevin already mentioned, like he should literally have a statue outside of Denver Stadium. And for him to get fired, it was just kind of like, he was kind of one of those coaches I thought was untouchable. Like, there's only like a handful of coaches. I feel like Mazzulla's job is safe for the most part. I thought Malone's job was up there. Spoelstra's a guy who's coached for Popovich. Like, those were the guys that I thought, probably you wouldn't think twice about, firing. And then all of a sudden he gets canned, and then they fire Calvin Booth as well. So don't really know too much what's going on in Denver. I don't think Jokic really had anything to do with it. I think he's kind of a very nonchalant guy. Like, when he averaged a triple-double, they asked him, like, how do you feel about averaging a triple-double? He was like, yeah, I've never done that before. I think it's pretty cool. So I don't think he's not going to go out of his way to say, yeah, that guy has to go or I'm out of here. He's going to be I think he's going to be up for a new contract extension. He's going to get like the super duper max. So whatever Denver is able to pay him, they're gonna blank check, as Kevin likes to say. As far as the Budenholzer firing, I think Phoenix is just a mess. The whole, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, that it's just a mess. And I think they're cleaning house. They already Sharanya already came out and said that KD's basically gone. I would imagine they try to move. I think you try to move all 3 of them. kind of just blow it up and start over. My only thing is I don't know if they try and trade Devin Booker. I feel like they would try to keep him and maybe build around him, but at the same time, it's been pretty stagnant with him. And I think I'm a D-Book guy. I think he's one of the best players in the league when it comes down to it. Literally started on the USA team this past summer. So, I mean, he's going to be a top commodity. I think his style of play is going to fit a lot of teams. He's a guy who can get a bucket in any which way. He can create for himself. He can pass. So, I mean, I wouldn't see a team that wouldn't need his services. But at the same time, Phoenix drafted him, and, he's still fairly young and can contribute. So I'm not sure what they'll do with him. As far as Bradley Beal goes, I don't know if anyone wants Bradley Beal at the number that he's at currently, so it'd be hard to move him. Alex already mentioned the no trade clause thing, which is insane. As Shaun mentioned how the only other person in the league is LeBron James. So either Bradley Beal's agent is Clark Kent, or somebody was handcuffed into signing that deal.
The Washington Wizards.
So it's kind of Budenholzer was kind of like a scapegoat. It's like, all right, you were only here for a year, but we're already a mess, so we just needed you to kind of just put a curtain over all of the shit that we had before. Just put a curtain over it. No one's gonna know there's a bunch of shit right here, but it still smells like shit at the end of the day. So, with that being said, I just think Phoenix kind of has to blow it up and just start over, go young. I'm not sure. They got a bunch of second-round picks, so, I mean, maybe they could use that to their advantage. Kevin already mentioned they're paying 3 coaches to not coach. I guess Ishbia just has it like that, and money's no object to him. So, I don't know what Denver's doing. I think Michael Malone will get a job in 2.2 seconds once the season ends. I don't think Budenholzer will get another job anytime soon. But that's just the way I guess the new NBA is. Firing coaches right before the playoffs is something I never thought I'd ever see. Right, single digits, 9 games, 4 games left. You're out of here.
Playoff teams that are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, these are teams that are going to the playoffs. Like Budenholzer, I get it. Season's over. We got nothing to play for. That makes sense. But at the same time, when you have teams that are seeded like 4, 5, 6, like fighting for playoff spots, and yeah, you're out of here. We no longer need your services. It's just mind-boggling to me. So I guess that's just the new NBA that we're all kind of adjusting to.
Yep. Michael Malone was fired, the latest that an NBA head coach has been fired in the regular season since Hubie Brown was let go like 20 years ago. And I think it was by the Memphis Grizzlies. And so it is a new NBA. Greg Popovich, the names that were mentioned, Greg Popovich, Eric Spoelstra, they're the last 2 who are basically invincible. And everyone else is on the chopping block because, as you said, Toddy, Michael Malone should have been in that category with those guys. And so the fact that he was let go, it's really ironic considering everything he had to say about Mike Brown. But as was said earlier, when it comes to Calvin Booth being fired, the GM of the Nuggets, according to all reports, Calvin Booth and Michael Malone just constantly were beefing. They never agreed on anything. Calvin Booth didn't want Michael Malone to be playing Westbrook as much. He wanted him to be playing the rookie guard that he drafted. And, I think the Nuggets just wanted some cohesion. I probably would have kept Michael Malone. He used to get pissed off when people would call him Mike. He'd be like, my mother named me Michael. And so anyways, point being, you have a championship head coach, but that doesn't really seem to matter anymore because the only championship head coach that's still around is Joe Mazzulla, who just won, like from the last 5+ years, it's Joe Mazzulla. The list ends there. Oh, yes, and Steve Kerr. Thank you, Alex. Somehow my brain just wants me to forget that 2022 championship from the Warriors. But yeah, you look at Nick Nurse, 2019, he's gone. Frank Vogel, 2020, he's gone. You look at 2021, Mike Budenholzer had been gone from the Bucks. And to Alex's point, and also Osmosis Jones, what a name right there. I think Kerr is pretty untouchable too, as long as Steph is there. Not sure he sticks around for a rebuild, though. I completely agree with that as well. And yeah, Steve Kerr, 2022, Joe Mazzulla, 2024 are the only recent championship head coaches who are still around, which is just mind-boggling. And then obviously go back to 2018, that's Steve Kerr again. And so it is a new NBA. It's crazy that this is what it's come to, but yet we shall move on just like those teams are moving on. And now, guys, here on episode number 140 of Stats Over Politics, let's get to our NBA play-in preview. And we are going to go a little out of order just to start locally, as Kevin and I are the Kings fans on this panel. Kevin is plotting on the Kings' downfall. I'm rooting for them just because after this, I'm afraid the Kings are going to blow it up. And so I want to see them go on at least a little bit of a run, but maybe that's just me being dead inside as a Kings fan and just wanting to be happy for an extra day. And I'm also going to the play-in game now on Wednesday, thanks to an invite from my friend Keith. It's my first Kings game all year, and I only went to one Kings game last year. So I used to go to like 10 Kings games a year at least, and now I've hardly gone, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'd rather not be there for a loss, but, it is what it is if they end up keeping the pick. And so we're starting locally with the Kings hosting the Mavericks in the 10-9 play-in game in the Western Conference.
Kings.
Because for sake of time, we are going to keep it moving here, and we'll just go around the panel, give brief analysis and a pick for the game. I'll start things off. I'm going to pick the Kings in this one. If Kyrie Irving was playing in this game, Jaevon's guy, then I would probably pick the Mavericks. But because Kyrie is out for the year, unfortunately, and it dates back to when the Kings last played the Mavericks in Dallas, and it was very unfortunate. It was a Monday night when that happened. We recorded the podcast right after, and we had feared the worst, and that's exactly what ended up happening. But I'm picking the Kings in this 10-9 matchup. Jaevon, how about you?
Yeah, I'm picking the Kings too. They traded Luka Doncic away from the team. I don't know if you guys know, but yeah,
interesting.
That happened. Kyrie's out for the year, and just bunch of injuries on the Mavs. I think they're just depleted, and maybe the fire of Nico Chance will come to fruition at Golden One Center.
Yeah, and as Osmosis Jones says on YouTube, I'm a Kings fan too. What's up? Hope they win then. I do as well. And also want to give a shout out to Dad Dent, a.k.a. Smooth, who says, what's up, fam? And so now, Alex, who are you picking in this one between the Kings and the Mavericks?
I would like for the Sacramento Kings to light the beam one more time. And then it will be the end of an era.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Kevin, my fellow Kings fan, we heard how you feel earlier in the pod, but what's the analysis behind it?
So the Kings are 3-0 against the Mavericks this season. As we all know, they've had completely different rosters. They were at a point having to forfeit games because they didn't have enough eligible players. With all that being said, I'm going to take the Mavericks. I know, Kevin's a homer, A, B, C, and D. I would prefer us to have a top 12 pick than have no first-round pick. So we like Shaun mentioned, we're going to blow it up here soon. So it's easier to do that with a top 12 draft pick.
Yeah, and also Blue agrees that he wants the Kings to keep the draft pick. And as Osmosis Jones says, when did the Kings roster become the play-in Bulls West? Shake my damn head. And we will get to the Bulls in just a moment. But before we do, we're going to stay in the Western Conference and get to tomorrow, Tuesday night's 7-8 matchup, which is going to be a good one between Ja Morant and all of his various celebrations and the Golden State Warriors, who just barely and for our audio-only listeners, you're missing out on great content because Jaevon and Alex simultaneously threw a grenade and held their ears. Literally,
Did you see what he said about the celebration?
What did he say?
He was like, it's not a grenade. He was like, y'all don't know what I'll be. He said like he was like he's blocking out the haters or something like that.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I've seen all the Grand Theft Auto memes.
The memes are
too.
ridiculous.
Yeah, those have been pretty funny. But I mean, to Ja's point, before we get to the actual game, to Ja's point, it's very hypocritical of the NBA. Like, I know that, as Toddy, you like to call him Jaws the Dangler, as he loves to pull out a real gun and put it on Instagram. But it's pretty, yeah, as Toddy dangles his phone. But it's pretty hypocritical considering that for years players have been doing bow and arrow celebrations. They've been doing their own shooting celebrations. But because Ja Morant has gotten caught up posting a real gun, it's not okay for him to do it, but the rest of the league can do it. It's pretty hypocritical. But nevertheless, in this game, I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors just barely missed out on getting an actual playoff spot yesterday when they lost on national TV. And yes, as Toddy's alluding to, days prior, Harrison Barnes came back and got some revenge against the Golden State Warriors as he hit a game winner against them. And I just wish that he could have done that 2 years ago when I was there for game 4 of the first round. And he had a 3 to put the Kings up 3-1, and he clanked that shit. So thank you, Harrison Barnes. Congrats on playing another 82-game season. Anyways, I'm going with the Warriors. Alex, who you got in this matchup?
Wow.
Yeah, can you tell that there's still like a lot of pent-up aggression from that series? Yeah, definitely, Kevin.
I think I'm gonna go with Memphis. But so this is the 7-8. So whoever wins gets the 7th seed, right? So they play the Rockets.
Yes.
I kind of want the Warriors to win because I feel like the Warriors could potentially beat the Rockets. But I think out of this Warriors, I think the Warriors are 0-3. Yeah, they're not good. I have Memphis.
All right, Kevin, who you got?
I'm going Memphis as well. We saw Jimmy Butler have a back injury. We saw Steph Curry have a thumb injury. So they would have really been able to benefit from having this week off to prepare for the playoffs. But now that they're going to have to rally and play in a playing game, Alex mentioned they're 0-3 in the playing game. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this plays out. But I would prefer the Warriors to play because I think it'd be a better series versus the Rockets. But I think the Warriors are just burnt out at this moment. They tried so hard. They were before Jimmy. I think they were the 11th seed, and then they got all the way up to 4, and now they're back down to 7. So it just kind of goes to show like the roller coaster ride that the Warriors have been on this year. So I think it kind of ends here, and they go 0-4 in the play-in. And like we're expecting the Kings to do, I think the Warriors might say, "I'm gonna hit the big red button." So I'm going to take the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, right.
Toddy, are you going to make this the second consecutive matchup that has a 3-1 vote from the panel, or are you going to split it down the middle?
I like the Warriors tomorrow. They're actually minus 300. That's crazy. I don't know. Somebody's supposed to be hurt. So, I mean, Kevin, you guys can put some money on it. Grizzlies are plus 250 tomorrow. So I don't know how you're feeling about that. But I do like Golden State tomorrow. I did see a stat that the Warriors have not won a play-in game. So you might be up to something there. But I do think the Warriors, Jimmy Butler, Steph, Draymond, a lot of experience, championship experience between a lot of those guys. So I feel like they'll end up getting it done. Don't know where. I think the Grizzlies are reeling a little bit. They don't have their coach. They just fired their coach. Let's take that into consideration. But I think I remember a couple of years ago when the Grizzlies, I think, was that the first play-in game when it was the Grizzlies versus the Warriors and Ja? That was an insane game. I remember that game. It was nice to remember. But, yeah, I think the Warriors come out on top tomorrow. I like Steph Curry. Big game tomorrow.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, it was the Lakers and Warriors that preceded that, and then we got that matchup between the Grizzlies and the Warriors. But Alex, did you want to jump in real quick?
I totally forgot to. I might change. I'm so iffy about this because we also have playoff Jimmy, and I forgot about him.
Yeah,
he took a play-in team to the finals, so I don't want to discredit him.
But he was gimping around yesterday, though.
He was.
But this is playoff Jimmy though. This is what he lives for. So I don't know. I'm gonna still go with Memphis. I'm gonna keep my word. But
all right.
Before we move on, Shaun, Toddy mentioned NBA championship pedigree. There are 5 players from that championship team on this team.
All right.
Take that for whatever you want.
It also shows how quickly the NBA changes because if I remember correctly, Gary Payton II is one of those guys, but he also was briefly not on the Warriors as he went to Portland up near Kevin. And as Osmosis Jones says, Steph had 12 threes in Memphis a few weeks ago. And Steph also had 15 points entering the fourth quarter yesterday, and he finished with like 36 before they started doubling him on every single play. And so Steph was cooking indeed. Toddy, the chef, was present. Now, we're moving over to the Eastern Conference in the play-in round, and we're sticking with the other 7-8 matchup as the Hawks are going to be playing in Orlando against the Magic. Toddy, as you indicate, you're very cold right now at the home that you're in. And so who are you going with between Atlanta and Orlando?
Give me Ice Trey. He's like the play-in king. I think he's undefeated playing. He's like, I think his record in the play-in. Can't even probably look that up. But yeah, I just love Trey in these one game scenarios. Predicting a really big game from him. Jalen Suggs not playing has something to do with it as well. Him being out and Mo Wagner being out. I think that will hurt more than help the Magic. Obviously, they still have Paolo Banchero, who's due for a huge game in these type of playoff setting moments. But I like Trae Young to have probably a 25-12 type of game. But I feel like Kevin found something. Oh no! Oh,
Kevin, you're muted, so we don't know.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find anything. I was trying to find it. So
Yeah.
they've only lost one game in the play-in.
Yeah, Trey's really good in these playoff scenarios. So if you do like you're a gambling man like myself, Hawks are plus 175 tomorrow. So good return on your investment.
And I have to highlight this comment just because it made me laugh. But Osmosis Jones says, is anybody watching those East play-in games or either series those winners play in? I, for one, am not. The panelists above me and also to my left on the screen, they likely will be watching those series just because their beloved Boston Celtics will be putting on a whooping in one of them. And again, NBA TV teams. I agree. But Kevin, who do you got in the Hawks versus the Magic?
Dude, this is such a toss-up game. It really comes down to the other guys. Is Franz Wagner going to come to play? Is Dyson Daniels and Clint Capella? It's all about the other guys because we obviously know that Trae Young and Paolo Banchero are going to come do their thing. But it comes down to the other guys, and I'm going to take the Orlando Magic because I think the other guys are better. Yes, Dyson Daniels could, be first team all defense. I get that. Later in steals in the NBA this year, huge improvement. But the Magic have the playoff experience. I get it. I remember the Hawks went to the Eastern Conference Finals 17,000 years ago. I remember. Yeah, I was there. But I'm going to take the team that has the most experience. And they took arguably the best team in the NBA to 6. Did they lose to the Cavs in 6 last year?
7.
So they took arguably the best team in the NBA to 7 last year. So they have the experience. Now Paulo's been into the big game, so I'm going to take the Orlando Magic.
Alex, who do you got in this one and why?
I have the Hawks only because kind of what Kevin was saying, but I disagree with one thing. Was you think Magic's other guys are better? The Magic don't have other guys. All of them are injured.
Who on the Hawks is better than Franz Wagner besides Trae Young?
The guy from the Cavs, LeVert.
Oh, no way. No way.
I almost ended the stream.
Okay. If I could be blunt, I was just saying a random name. I don't know.
Of course you were. We can tell.
On the Hawks besides him and Trae Young and like Capella. I have no idea who's there. Because I know Bogdanovich left.
Yeah.
And they probably have someone else that left. So I just don't think the Magic have enough. I would like to see them win, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the Magic will probably be the 8th seed.
Okay, and to your point, Alex, as well, DeJounte Murray, before getting hurt, he also moved on from Atlanta as he became a New Orleans Pelican. But in this matchup, I'm going to go with the Orlando Magic, and I'm simply going with the Magic because I had Franz Wagner on my fantasy team this year, and this fantasy team missed the playoffs with the second most points scored in the league, and I just had bad luck. Don't need to talk about my fantasy team anymore. that's why I'm going with that pick. Is I'm going with the Magic, which leads us to the perennial play-in teams, the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls, as the Bulls will be hosting the Heat. Obviously, both teams have a new look coming into this year's play-in, as the Heat are without Jimmy Butler, and the Bulls are now led by Josh Giddey, basically. And so, Alex, who do you got in this matchup and why?
Gosh, I don't even care. I'm gonna go with the Heat. Just throw it up in the air. I have
All right.
Yeah.
Kevin, how about you?
I'm going to go with the Bulls. The Bulls are 3-0 versus the Heat this year. We've seen that Bam arguably cannot be a number 2 option. Tyler Hero stepped up with Jimmy Butler being gone, and Bam kind of has been really up and down this year. And I don't think Tyler Hero can lead them to a win. Josh Giddey has been getting a lot of slander, but we are seeing this is the prime position that Josh Giddey needs to be in. We saw him in OKC last year playing off the ball. He needs the ball in his hand. He's the playmaking. So him and Kobe White, they have been playing really well right now. They're like the Rockets of last year, the last month of the year. They've just been playing really hot, really well. So I'm going to take the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to take the Chicago Bulls.
Jaevon, who do you got in this matchup between the two perennial play-in teams, the Heat and the Bulls?
I like the Bulls to win. They've been playing weirdly good in the month of March, but if you kind of look at all the teams that they're playing, most guys are sitting out. They're doing this and that, but they've been playing a bunch of, I'd say, the teams that they've been playing up against, they'll be good teams, but somebody's not playing, or they'll catch them on a back-to-back, something like that. But the Bulls have been playing really good in March. Could be a little bit misleading. But I do see a Kobe White crazy playing game. He's kind of known for that. Every time the Bulls make the play-in pretty regularly. I feel like all of these teams, most of these teams that are in the play-in, they're like usual suspects, if that makes it like they're prime for these types of games. Last year I think Kobe White had like a 40 piece in the play-in. I like to see him probably play pretty well. I think Budenholzer will have a really good game. They're a rookie who's had a pretty solid season. I think we'll see a pretty big game for him, which will foreshadow what I think he'll be going forward. And I think we'll probably get a good game from Josh Giddey. And ultimately, I just think the Heat, given their season, hasn't really gone well. I mean, once upon a time, I think they lost 9, 10 straight. It got really bad. I don't know what they're going to be looking for going forward. Maybe they'll be one of those teams looking to get Kevin Durant. Tyler Hero, obviously, coming off one of his great statistical seasons. I mean, he was an all-star this past year. As far as the season goes as a team, not so great. Bam Adebayo's having a down year. I just think the Miami Heat are trending downwards, and the Chicago Bulls, ironically, are trending up as far as how recently they've been playing well, and Miami Heat have been playing not so good. So I don't think the Bulls are going to make the playoffs, but I think they get this game and end up sending Miami on their way home, packing pretty early. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't think a lot of people are going to watch this game because these are probably two of the worst teams. But, yeah, if you like to gamble like myself, I'll probably be locked in. Give me Chicago.
And Toddy, while I don't dispute anything that you just said, I'm going to pick the Heat for 2 reasons. Number one, if I'm looking at the head coaching matchup between Eric Spoelstra and Billy Donovan, I'm going to go with experience in Eric Spoelstra. As Alex said earlier, when it came to Jimmy Butler, not only did Jimmy Butler lead them from the play-in to the NBA Finals, but Eric Spoelstra was at the helm of that team. And the other factor that I'm picking Miami with in this one is just looking at the core. I'd rather have the core of Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and even Andrew Wiggins compared to a core of Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Nikola Vucevic. Kobe White could go off again, as Toddy was alluding to. but I'm going to go with Miami in this one, mainly because I'm just a big believer in Eric Spoelstra, one of the few coaches in the NBA who's still untouchable. And I feel weird even saying that because he could end up getting fired, like based on the way that the trends are going in the NBA. Greg Popovich may get fired, but he'll just say he's retiring instead. Like, this is just the NBA nowadays, and the NBA is just trending towards younger coaches. I have to highlight one of these comments that made me smirk when Toddy was talking. But Tyler Hero, Guitar Hero, Superhero, Bulls in one from Osmosis Jones. That's hilarious. I thought that was great. All right, so guys, for this last round of the play-in games, which is going to be Friday, this is all to be determined based on who wins, who loses. So you got to keep in mind who you picked in the 9-10 matchup who to win and who you picked to lose in the 7-8 matchup. So I'll just start with myself, and we'll go one by one for each conference. So I have the Kings winning in the 9-10 matchup, and I have the Grizzlies losing in the 7-8. So I would have the Kings playing in Memphis against the Grizzlies on Friday. As much as the homer in me would love to pick the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to go with the Dangler, Ja Morant, and the coachless Grizzlies to win that matchup. So then in my East 9-10 matchup, I have the Heat winning. And then in the 7-8 matchup, I have the Hawks losing. So then that gets the Heat versus the Hawks. As much as I would love to pick the Heat in this one, based on everything I just said, it's actually getting quite cold in my house right now. So I'm going to go with Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Kevin, keep in mind who you pick to win, who you pick to lose. Let's hear your Friday matchups for the play-in and the 8 seed.
Perfect. So I chose the Mavericks over the Kings, and I chose the Memphis Grizzlies over the Warriors. So that means it'd be the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Kings. Memphis Grizzlies versus the Kings, correct?
Did you just say you picked the Grizzlies over the Warriors?
Versus the Mavericks.
Yeah, it would be the Warriors and the Mavericks.
Warriors versus the Mavericks. Okay, and then I would have the Warriors being the Mavericks, and then I would have the Magic winning and the Bulls winning. So that means it would be a Magic versus Heat. And I'm going to take the Magic.
All right. Alex, keep in mind who you pick to win and lose. What are your matchups for Friday, and who do you got getting the 8 seeds?
Yes. So I have, for the 9 and 10, the Kings winning. So, and then I have the Warriors losing. And I think the Warriors will get that 8th spot.
All right.
Then in the East, I have the Heat winning. And then I have the Hawks losing. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with the Heat winning. So they'll get the 8th.
Yeah, that was a bold pick that I was not willing to make. Jaevon, how about you?
So I have the Kings. The Kings would be playing against the Grizzlies. I have the Grizzlies being the Kings, sending them on their way. And then I would have the Hawks playing against the Magic. Yes, Hawks against the Magic. I'm going to say the Hawks because I'm a Trae guy. So Hawks get the 8 seed.
All right. So now let's get to the NBA playoffs first round preview. And so obviously the 7-8 seeds are still to be determined, but we can assume based on the information that we just provided for our predictions for the play-in. For the sake of time, we're going to stick to the same format. Just go by the series, brief analysis, pick, we move on. And then after that, we're going to get to our conference and NBA finals predictions and get out of here pretty soon. And so with the Western Conference, you have the 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. You got to keep in mind who you just picked. A lot of us have the Warriors or the Grizzlies as the 8th seed. And so with the Thunder, and for me, it would be the Grizzlies, I'm going to pick the Thunder to advance in 6 games against the Grizzlies. I do think that the Grizzlies put up a fight if that matchup were to happen against the Thunder, but ultimately talent prevails in this one, as well as the Thunder actually having a head coach and Mark Daigneault. And so I'm going to go with OKC Kevin, how about you? You got the Thunder versus, I believe you have the Grizzlies
It
as
doesn't
well.
matter who the Thunder play. The Thunder are going to win whatever series in 5. Whoever,
All right.
whether it's the Warriors or the Grizzlies, the Thunder have been playing phenomenally this year, and they have been a better team on the road than at home, and they're very good at both. So it's going to be hard to beat the Thunder, and I don't think either of the teams, any of the 4 teams coming out of the play-in, have enough to carry over to probably even win one game. So I'm going to go Thunder in 5 versus whoever, maybe 4.
Alex, does the matchup change anything for you, or are you on the same page as your brother with that one?
No, I'm with you. I think Thunder are gonna win in 6. I'll give Memphis 2 games. I think they'll put up a fight, and then it won't look too good.
For sure. Jaevon, how about you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Thunder versus the Grizzlies. I'm picking them 4 games. They're gonna get them up out of there pretty quick. So, Shea coming off MVP season. I don't know if it'll be announced by then, but I think Thunder will handle business pretty simply. 4 games.
And so we're gonna jump ahead just a little bit to the other side of the Western Conference bracket, just because it's still the unknown of who's going to get the 7 seed. But the 2 seed Rockets are going to host whoever gets the 7 seed. I have them hosting the Warriors. I really like that matchup. And if the Warriors somehow get healthy, Steph's not banged up with the hand, finger, whatever, Jimmy's not hobbling around as he was at the end of the game against the Clippers, I'm going to pick the Warriors. And this is fat old asterisk based on health, but I'm going to pick the Warriors to upset the Rockets in 7 games just based on experience. I understand that the Rockets have Fred VanVleet. They have Dylan Brooks and a lot of young talent. And Ime Udoka, who's a great coach. But I'm going to go with championship experience here. I'm going with the Warriors. Kevin, how about you for this Rockets series?
The only way I see the Rockets not coming out of here is if they, like Shaun mentioned, they play the Warriors. I feel like it's going to be like the Thunder's first round series last year that went to 6. They were the better team, but they don't have the experience. So the Rockets are going to get that experience. Toddy's guy, Jalen Green's going to have to get it going for them. If he doesn't, like Shaun mentioned, they could find themselves going home in the first round. But I'm going to take the Rockets in 6 or 7 versus whoever they play, because they're going to drop a couple games because they're inexperienced.
Alex, how about you?
I don't know. I think it's definitely gonna go 6-7 games. But I just can't discredit Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. So I think I'm gonna go Warriors in 7.
Ooh, all right. Jaevon.
Oh, you guys know I'm a JG guy. I think will be his coming out party playoff time. I think JG averages, I'll say 24 points per series, playoff series. I like the Rockets in probably 7 games. I'm not discrediting anything. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, those guys. Playoff experience. We'll probably ESPN or whoever gets this series will just name all the playoff experience that those 3 guys versus the entire Rockets team. We'll see that probably a lot. But I think JG is going to have a big series. Ime Udoka. Last time he was in the playoffs, they went to the finals. Might not have been the same exact team, but the last time he was in entering the playoffs with the Boston Celtics, they ended up stumbling their way into the finals and losing to Stephen Curry, who he's going up against now. So maybe he's learned a thing or two since that series and figure out a way to dethrone this Warriors team. So I'm going to go with the Rockets in 7 games.
And as Osmosis Jones points out here, Fred's been shooting bricks this year. So JG is going to have to come up big for the Rockets. And Osmosis Jones is on a roll tonight. This one is a bit much, but it made me laugh. And, I got to highlight it. OKC, HIV, PDA, Kings in 5. And final comment from Osmosis Jones. We appreciate the engagement. It might be a 7-2 matchup, but Warriors winning isn't an upset based on experience. Fred was a bench player in 2019. And so the Fred VanVleet slander continues. And so when it comes to the Rockets versus who knows, that is our picks for it. But on the other side of the bracket, who the Rockets or someone else would face In the second round is the winner of the 3-6 matchup, which is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so if Luka Doncic was not a Laker, then I would be picking the Timberwolves in this series. But unfortunately, Nico Harrison allowed that to happen. And so, much to my dismay, I'm picking the Lakers to win this series in 6 games, and I'm giving the Timberwolves 2 games because of that guy, Anthony Edwards. And so, Kevin, we heard everything you were saying earlier. We see the jersey. So, who do you got in the Lakers-Timberwolves matchup?
The only way in hell the Timberwolves win this series is if Julius Randle has a series. Anthony Edwards is not going to be able to single-handedly carry this team. The Lakers have been playing really well as of late, so it doesn't really matter. And could go for 40 every game. I don't think they have a chance to win. With that being said, I'm going to take the Lakers in 5.
All right, Alex, who do you got in this 3-6 West matchup?
You know, I have Lakers in 5, but I think this would have been a completely different series if they never traded Cat. If they still had Cat, I would really be
still not taking
it would have been Minnesota, but Julius Randle's not so great. So yeah, I got Lakers in 5.
I completely agree with you, Alex. That is a great point. And it's a good follow-up to Kevin's point about Julius Randle, because Julius Randle has to kind of turn back the clock. But, Jaevon, only you can save Wes and his Timberwolves. But are you going to make it a clean sweep?
LeBron back in the playoffs. It's going to be huge for ratings. Everyone's going to be tuned in. When was the last time LeBron went to the playoffs? What was it last year? Was it? No. 2 years ago? A couple years ago.
I think it was 2. A couple years ago.
So LeBron back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Home. I think this is the first time the Lakers have had a home playoff game since, I think, 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they would have, but
series.
The bubble happened.
Yeah, the bubble, yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
First true home playoff game since Kobe. So, yeah.
No, because Darvin Ham didn't Darvin Ham make it to. Didn't Darvin Ham make it a couple rounds in the playoffs? Or am I
They were 7th seed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My bad, Toddy.
So, I think it's going to be a tougher series than most people. I think this goes 6 games. As much as I want to say Lakers in 5, I think we have to respect Anthony Edwards, all NBA player. I think he has the most 3-pointers in the league currently. And he's just a guy that last year was kind of his coming out party, what he did to the Nuggets, basically by himself. But I think Anthony Edwards, we're going to see a couple clips from him. He's going to be talking. He's going to go at LeBron. He's going to go at Luka. He's not scared of nobody. We'll probably see a couple of Adidas commercials in between everything. But I do think this probably ends up going 6 games. I think Anthony Edwards is going to have a couple of just nuclear games, and that will get them 2 wins, but it's not going to help them win the series. And Kevin said if they have a shot, they need Julius Randle. They're going to need Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, all those guys got to step up. Everybody, it's all hands on deck. But I just think the Lakers, the way they've been playing, the season that they've had. Oh, and by the way, they got Luka Doncic on the team now. He just made the finals last year, so he's no stranger to the Timberwolves. I don't think it doesn't matter who guards them. So that's going to be the mismatch that I don't think a lot of people are going to be talking about, because obviously, LeBron, but it's the Luka show, as Kevin said. So give me the Lakers in 6 games.
Kevin never said that. It's always the LeBron James show. I don't give a shit who's on the wing. It's the LeBron James show. If they need a shot to win the game, who's shooting it?
Luka.
LeBron James.
Luka.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Well, and I had to fact check myself on that. Thinking back to the 2023 playoffs, because I remember when the Nuggets swept the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals after the Lakers advanced in 6 against the Grizzlies. They advanced in 6 against the Warriors, And then they got swept right out of the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals by the Nuggets. And
What
that was Darvin. They were the 7th seed. Yeah. So to Alex's point, they were a 7th seed coming out. Yeah. And then they were able to parlay that 7th seed into a Western Conference Finals berth.
And then Darvin
I just remembered. Exactly. I vaguely just remembered that was Darvin Ham's claim to fame last year after he got fired but he made it to the Western Conference Finals. Anyways, as Osmosis Jones says, Ant-Man, Omega Man, Ocean Man, LeBron, and 4. And so now we get to our final first round matchup in the Western Conference, which is the 4 seed Nuggets hosting the 5 seed Clippers. To put it briefly, I still think that the Nuggets, without Michael Malone, even though they should have never fired Michael Malone, they have the guy who should be MVP again. We're just getting used to the fact that Nikola Jokic is just going crazy and dropping ridiculous triple doubles. We kind of got used to it with Russell Westbrook as well. Like the first year that Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double, he won MVP, and then he did it again, and then they're like, well, that's just Russ. That's what's happening to Nikola Jokic right now. We're just acting like this is normal. He had like a 40-20-20 game a couple weeks ago. And no disrespect to Shea, like I just feel like with the Thunder being the 1 seed, Shea being up there and all the statistics, people call him a foul bait or whatever. He is a tremendous player. He's a top 10 player in the NBA. He's a foul free throw merchant. Exactly. And the NBA being a narrative-based league when it comes to the awards, that's why Shea's gonna win the MVP. But it should be Jokic. The voters are having fatigue voting for Jokic time and time again, just like they did with LeBron, just like they did with Antetokounmpo. But Jokic should be the MVP. And so I think Jokic leads the Nuggets to a hard-fought 7-game series win, and it's the home court that gets them by in this one. So I got Nuggets in 7 against the Clippers. Kevin, how about you? You got to unmute yourself.
This truly comes down to one person and one person only. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, first game's going to go off for 35 and 10, and then he's going to not play the rest of the series.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I don't think James Harden has enough. Yeah, I get it. Norman Powell, everyone's favorite defensive player of the year guy, Ivan Zubac, and they got the guys in Ty Lue, but it just depends on Kawhi. If Kawhi can come and play 4 games, I'm taking the Clippers. But if Kawhi doesn't play 4 games, I'm taking the Nuggets. So with that being said, Kenny, I hope you're watching. I'm taking the Clippers in 7, baby.
Alex, how about you? We got Kevin and I both have this series going 7 games, but we got different winners. So who do you got, Alex?
I got Clippers in 6. Oh, yes. And this is all dependent on Kawhi Leonard. If this man will probably drop like a 40 piece and probably will walk off the court and we won't know what's wrong with him. And then the Nuggets will win in 6. But if Kawhi plays, it is the Clippers in 6. They've been playing way too good. And James Harden, how old is he, 35? He literally looks like he's 28 right now. Like he is balling right now. And we can't all forget about Ben Simmons.
Who?
That's my guy, according to Toddy. He will never let me live it down.
That's a nugget for my dad. But yeah. Anyway, Clippers in 6. Continue.
All right, Jaevon, who do you got? Oh, he's going with the beard for the audio-only listeners.
Hey, man. Seen what I needed to see yesterday. James Harden. Playoff James. All NBA James, dare I say?
Dare you not say.
MVP type.
Oh, whoa.
I don't know about all that. But
is he not?
And
anyway, anyway.
It's just everybody's gonna keep going back to the health thing. Kawhi this, Kawhi that. Is Kawhi playing? He's gonna have an enormous game in game 1. Then Ty Lue's gonna come out and say he's got a knee issue. We've seen this movie before. We get it. It's happened. It's the same movie.
Over and over.
Something's different. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I like the Clippers. They've been one of the better teams in the NBA second half of the year. Ty Lue. I just think the Nuggets are on the decline. Yes, they have Nikola Jokic, probably the best player in the world. I get that. I just think the Clippers have a better team currently right now, and they've been firing on all cylinders. And I just think James Harden is the X factor in all of this. I think he can go off and do his thing. And I think Paul George is – I saw a meme of it was SpongeBob and Patrick and Squidward looking in the window, and it's Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. And Paul George is Squidward. He's just looking in the window like, damn, that could have been me out there. But, yeah, give me the Clippers in 6 games.
Yeah, as Norman Powell said, addition by subtraction in the case of PG-13, the NBA's most famous podcaster.
Playoff P, baby.
Yeah, and that was JJ Redick, but now it's Paul George. And so now as we transition to the Eastern Conference, we'll use the same format that we just used for the 7 and 8 seeds in the West. So the top seed Cavaliers, another team that starts with a C. The Cavaliers are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, arguably the best team in basketball, or you could say it's OKC. I'll leave that to your opinion when it comes to the listeners. But the Cavaliers are undisputedly the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They can play the Heat, the Hawks, the Bulls, or the Magic. It could be all 4 of those teams. Who knows? But for me, it doesn't matter who they would play in the first round. I'm taking the Cavs to sweep. And if I recall correctly, this is my first sweep that I'm predicting. I got Cavs in 4. Does not matter who they play. Kevin, how about you?
Cavs in 4, no matter who they play. They would have to go fucking nuclear to get 1 win. The Cavs defensively have been one of the best teams, and offensively have been one of the best teams. Donovan Mitchell's playing at a phenomenal level, and Evan Mobley is killing it right now, arguably defensive player of the year. So I'm going to take the Cavaliers in 4.
All right, Alex, this is the team that has prevented your Celtics from being the number 1 seed in the East, as Osmosis Jones responds to my point about Cleveland being the best in the East with Boston question marks. So now we hear from the 2 Boston fans on the panel. Alex, for the audio-only listeners, you were just indicating how you think this series would go, but if you could just tell those people who are only listening with their ears.
Yep, short and sweet. Sweep.
All right. Jaevon, are you going to make it a unanimous sweep for the Cavaliers on this panel?
Yeah, I just think there'll be too much for whoever's the 8th seed coming out. It's going to be, come hell to pay. I think the Cavs are going to sweep pretty much whoever they play. With that instance, it'd be the Hawks for me. So, yeah, they'll probably be favored in double digits. Whoever they play game 1, it'll probably be a double-digit spread. And I'll probably take it.
So then that brings us to Jaevon and Alex's favorite team, the Boston Celtics, the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And for me, I have them playing the Orlando Magic. Unlike for the Cavaliers, where I don't think it matters, I do think that it matters who the Celtics are going to play. The Celtics, the reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champions, will be advancing to the second round in 5 games against the Orlando Magic. I'm going to give the Magic 1 game. They're going to win in Orlando. Then the Celtics are going to close it out back at home. But Kevin, as the only other unbiased member of this panel when it comes to this matchup, who do you got and why?
Possibly no Jaylen Brown. So are we going to see Porzingis be the second best player for that team? With that being said, I am not going to say this is a sweep. I'm going to say the Celtics in 5. Without Jaylen Brown, we're going to have to see a lot of guys step up, and I think there might be a game where Jason Tatum and Porzingis just can't do it. So I'm going to say Celtics in 5.
Alex, you were already indicating how you think this matchup would go, but please tell the audio-only listeners.
I was like, oh, sweep. But then I'm like, this is the Celtics who like to drop a game or 2. Due to lack of focus sometimes. So I do think the Celtics will win it in 5, unfortunately.
Okay, so I'm not so crazy. Yeah. Jaevon, are you going to make it unanimous on this panel again with Celtics in 5?
Give me the Celtics at 4. I get Jaylen Brown's going to be out. This is a team last year played basically the entire playoffs without Porzingis. There are no strangers to being shorthanded during the playoffs. JB, get healthy, brother. If you don't need to play this series, it's all good. We got you.
The Finals MVP without him?
Give me Celtics at 4.
Kevin would argue the Celtics' best player is out, but we'll leave that there. So who the Celtics would play in the second round is the winner of the 3-6 matchup between the New York Knicks and Detroit basketball. The Pistons are back in the playoffs. So I really like the Pistons this year. I think that they have had quite a resurgence, and they deserve kudos for that. Cade Cunningham, he's that dude. He should not win Most Improved Player. It should not go to the first overall pick, but he has had a breakout season. Malik Beasley coming off the bench, nearly falling 1 3-pointer short of leading the NBA in threes off the bench. That title actually went to Anthony Edwards, but Malik Beasley will tell you on Twitter that he led the NBA in threes off the bench. All of that said, I'm picking New York in 6 games. It's kind of like what Alex was saying earlier. If New York still had Julius Randle, then I would probably consider this series going 7 games, and maybe Detroit could pull off an upset. But unfortunately for Dante DiVincenzo, the Villanova Knicks are moving on in 6 games against the Detroit Pistons. But Kevin, what do you think about this series?
Knicks in 4. I get it.
Damn.
Pistons ain't never done something. This is their biggest moment. And pressure makes diamonds. And they've never been here. Magically, Cade might go for 70 and win 1, but at most Knicks in 5. But I'm going to sit here and stamp Knicks in 4. This is just the end of the road for the Pistons. They played 82 great games. Now they're going to come in. They might drop the first 2 on the road because they're going to be nervous as shit. And then, like I said, at home, you never know. Isaiah Stewart might throw an elbow and get Jalen Brunson thrown out the game, and they might magically win a game. But Knicks in 4.
All right, Alex, who do you got in this matchup between New York and Detroit?
You guys aren't gonna like it, but I don't care. I want to upset Detroit in 7.
Oh, all right.
She basically said, I don't even believe this. I just want to see an upset. Pistons in 7.
I think if anyone's gonna get an upset, I think it's over the Knicks. That's why I say that. So
But why the Knicks? I mean, as Osmosis Jones says, Tibbs' job is on the line. So
yes, if we're talking about head coaches needing to be fired, he should. And anyway, I got beef with him. I just think the Knicks just don't have it. I think they rely too heavily on their starters. The bench sucks. The only thing going for the Knicks is that they play in Madison Square Garden, and Spike Lee is like their number 1 fan. So if anyone's going to get us upset in this entire playoff run, it's going to be them.
Question: how many bench players can you name for the Detroit Pistons?
You got Bride Kid. You got the
McBride.
My bad. You got the guy who seems funny.
He plays for the Knicks.
Hey, Cameron Payne.
I said for the Pistons, Alex.
Oh, for the Pistons.
Yeah.
Isaiah Stewart.
He starts.
I just named one like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. Hit that guy.
What's his name?
That guy. Yeah. You can't say the Knicks bench sucks and you can't even name a guy coming off the bench for Pistons.
Okay. But I want to give credit to a Pistons team that literally the fans were like, sell the team, and now they're in the playoffs, okay?
Just say it with your chest. You want to give respect to Cade Cunningham.
I'm saying it with my chest. Pistons
but that's
in
it.
7.
It's just Cade. Is Cade enough to win them a series?
Yes.
We all know what time it is.
Well, Toddy, what are you going to say? Who do you got between the Knicks and
I'm
the
actually
Pistons?
shocked. I thought I'd be the only person on this panel. I've been very consistent in what I've been saying. Cade Cunningham, I believe, is an All-NBA player. We actually on the last podcast, we got a little altercation. I wouldn't say a little spirited debate about Cade Cunningham with Dad Dent. He doesn't think Cade's top 15 or 10 or whatever. I think this is the series that he's going to come out and prove it. I just think I like this Pistons team. You got guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. And Tobias Harris, Marcus Spencer. I just love this. I love
she's looking at the wrong team right now.
How could I forget? You got the other
It's Cade and them. That's what the team is. Cade and them.
Asar. I like Asar as well. The other Thompson twin. I think Tom Thibodeau can't spell the word bench. It's going to be Jalen Brunson and Cat. I would say the more talented team is probably New York because you have all NBA guys. You got all NBA guys and Jalen Brunson and Cat. I think Cade Cunningham is the young superstar who's up and coming and is going to put the world on notice. And I'm even going to go out on a limb and say that they win game one, the Pistons. They're 7-point dogs in this game, so that is got to take that with a grain of salt. Plus 250, I would like to say that the Pistons are. But I do think this is going to be a really good series. And I think I saw something about Piston fans aren't letting New York or Knicks fans buy tickets when they come to Detroit. Which would be pretty interesting. So we'll probably see Spike Lee will figure out a way to get into that game. But I like the Pistons 7 games. Give me Cade and them, as Kev says.
Ooh, all right. And as Uncle Manny says, you go, Alex. And so finally, the last matchup in the first round that we have before we close things out with our conference and NBA finals picks as quickly as possible, because I know we got to get out of here. But the final first round matchup we have is the 4-seed Pacers versus the 5-seed Bucks. And this is really interesting, buddy, because if you recall from years past, when Giannis had 63 points in a game and the Pacers tried to take the ball away from him and he wanted the ball and then they ended up damn near brawling in the tunnel. I mean, this has popcorn matchup written all over it. I'm going to go with, if I wasn't wearing my Breanna Stewart jersey today because of the WNBA draft and another UConn legend going first overall, I might be wearing my Tyrese Halliburton Sacramento Kings jersey that I bought after he got traded because it went on sale. Give me Tyrese Halliburton to end the Giannis and Dame era in Milwaukee. And we talked about Mike Budenholzer getting fired. I would feel more confident in the Bucks if Mike Budenholzer was still their coach versus Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers, he has had so many jobs for a reason on both fronts. He's had so many jobs because he's a great coach, but he's also had so many jobs because he doesn't get it done in the playoffs. Give me the Pacers in 7 games in this series. Kevin, you're wearing yellow, but are you going to go with the Pacers?
Pacers in 5. There will be a game, probably game 4, where Giannis goes for 65, 20 rebounds, 3 blocks, and a couple assists. Both out Dame, they're only going to win 1 game. And I know they're saying Dame might come back, but even with Dame, I'm taking the Pacers in 5.
Ooh. All right, Alex. Who do you got in this series? With
the one Pacers time I agree with my brother.
I
think it's all going to be the Giannis show. And I don't think Giannis is that type of player to will put his team on his back to win 4 consecutive games. Kyle Kuzma is not great for them at the moment. But Portis will be back. Or is he already back? He's already back. Yeah, I don't think they have enough. And I think this Pacers team can make a little run.
All right, Jaevon, who do you got? Are you going to make it unanimous for Indiana, or are you going to go out on a limb and pick the Bucks?
I think the Bucks have the best player in the series, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know the status of Damian Lillard, if he's going to play or not. I think he's supposed to be made available. I'm not too sure. It's crazy. It's a very touchy situation to play with blood clots. I think it's a little bit – I wouldn't try to come back. Kevin has always been a guy who say health over basketball any day of the week. I like the Pacers moving forward. I think they probably win in 6 games. it's weird because I feel like if Dame was healthy and Giannis were healthy, most of us would be like,
Still lose.
Okay, give me the Bucks, but I don't know. Something about watching the Pacers in the playoffs. I just love their atmosphere when it comes to playoff basketball for them. That home court advantage is real during the playoffs. So give me the Pacers in the 6 games.
All right, so that does it for our NBA playoff first round preview here on episode 140 of Stats Over Politics. Shaun Holko alongside Jaevon Toddy, Kevin, and Alex Dent. Guys, we got to go, so let's close it out by making our predictions for the entire NBA playoffs. When I'm saying that, I mean the end of the line. The conference finals, the NBA finals. I want to know your matchups, who you got winning each one, and then who you got as your finals MVP. So I'll start things off, and it turns my stomach to say this because I was looking at the bracket, I was thinking about everything, and I was like, all right, okay. This is what I came to. I have the 1 seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder, advancing to the Western Conference Finals to match up against the jersey that Kevin's showing, and he knew where I was going with this because it makes me so sick to even say this. I wanted to be biased, but this is Stats Over Politics. And again, just as I said about the first round series between the Lakers and the Timberwolves, if Luka Doncic wasn't a Laker, they might have got bounced in the first round. But too bad they have the greatest player of all time and arguably a guy who's going to retire as the greatest European player of all time. And so I got the Thunder versus the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. I'll leave you guys on a little bit of a cliffhanger there and not reveal my finals matchup yet. Then that takes us to the Eastern Conference. Some people would love to see a potential Lakers-Celtics matchup in the finals, but you can't get there if the Cavaliers end up beating the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. And so I got the Cavaliers beating the Celtics, dethroning the reigning champions. I got the Cavaliers advancing past the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they will play the Los Angeles Lakers. I hate to say, it's going to be a storybook ending for LeBron James. I don't think that this is it for him, but en route to number 5, beating your former team in the NBA Finals, that would be a pretty damn cool story. Like, I hate the fact that I have the Lakers going this far. I'd be happy about it if LeBron was playing for literally any other team than the Lakers. Even if he played for the Warriors, I would feel better about it than the Lakers. I will always hate the Lakers the most out of all NBA teams. But I got the Lakers winning the championship in J.J. Redick's first year as a head coach. I was telling y'all, and a lot of this has to do with Luka being traded to the Lakers, a trade that still doesn't make sense to this day. Yeah, it's pretty significant. But I told you guys when J.J. Redick was hired as the Lakers head coach that he's the next Pat Riley. And Luka's going to help a lot with that. But winning a championship in your first season, that is a great way to start that coaching resume. I have the Lakers.
That clip has to resurface of Shaun back in however when that was. Yeah.
Yeah, because y'all told me I was crazy. But
well,
I have the
Lakers then, though. So that kind of that plays a lot into the factor.
Yes, but still, he's still the head coach. You can't just have anybody as the head coach. But anyways, I mean, if Darvin Ham was the head coach still, I don't know if I'd be picking the Lakers even with Luka. But JJ has shown that he has an ability to connect with his players while holding them accountable, and he is just a basketball junkie. And so I got the Lakers winning the championship against the Cavaliers in the finals. And to no surprise, I mean, in a Los Angeles-Cleveland series, would I like to pick Luka? Yeah. But this is it for LeBron James being the best player on his team. Because it's going to be Luka's team next year. We thought this would be the case when the Lakers won the championship in 2020 and AD emerged throughout that postseason run. AD carried them through that Denver series in the Western Conference Finals, and we thought that was the passing of the torch, but it wasn't. This is going to be the passing of the torch. LeBron James is your Finals MVP. The Lakers win the championship against the Cavaliers, and I might just go yak right now because I hated saying that, but that's my unbiased opinion. Kevin, I feel like we know where you're going to go with your picks, so I'm going to reverse the panel, and I'm going to toss it back to Toddy. Jaevon, Mr. Boston Celtics fan, do you have your squad repeating? Let's hear your conference finals and NBA finals matchups, as well as your champion and finals MVP.
I'll start in the Western Conference. I think the Lakers and the Thunder will probably meet up in the Western Conference Finals. Got the Lakers advancing in probably 6 games. If you want conference finals MVP, I'll say Luka gets conference final MVP. In the Eastern Conference, I think the Celtics and the Cavs will meet up. I have the Celtics winning in 6 games. Will be a very, very tough series. A tough 6 games. I think each margin of victory will be like 3 points in each game. It's going to be that close. And I'll say Jason Tatum gets conference finals MVP like he did last year, which means the Lakers and the Celtics will meet up in the finals. Lakers Celtics finals. Couldn't even tell you how many times they've met up in the finals, but goes back to medieval times, damn near. It's going to be a lot of, storylines. If that, LeBron, Luka, Celtics, Lakers, the Jays. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be probably one of the most viewed finals in a while, I think. Maybe I wouldn't say of all time, but I think it'll be a lot of star power. But I have the Celtics probably winning in 7 games. It'll be a very, very, it's going to be back and forth for sure. Oh, that's crazy. But I have Jason Tatum winning finals MVP.
Yeah, Jaevon, it is crazy because I was just wondering if you're in the comments on a burner right now with the Lakers Celtics finals, Boston in 7. And also, as Toddy's burner, just kidding, says, I think LA Boston is the global storied league series NBA wants over LeBron, over Cavs, which is more of a local story. And Luka winning a finals MVP before a league MVP would be funny. And also Osmosis Jones counters my Luka as the greatest European of all time. With Luka over Jokic, who'll be top 15 all time. Doubt it. That is a good point, especially given everything I just said about Jokic earlier. And also if Luka hasn't even won a single league MVP yet, he could start a streak next year. But anyways, Alex, tossing it over to you. Jaevon has the Celtics repeating. How about you?
So obviously everyone should have the Cavaliers and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's probably going to go to 7 games. I have the Celtics coming out on top. Conference MVP probably will just go to like Jason Tatum, right? Then West, I have, like everyone else, OKC versus Lakers. I have the Lakers winning in 6. I only say this because the NBA wants a Lakers versus Boston. I think OKC can beat the Lakers, but I think, hey, we're slacking a little bit. We need some more viewers, and what's the best rivalry in all of sports, which is the Celtics and the Lakers. I have Boston winning, unfortunately, in 5, and I have Jrue Holiday as Finals MVP.
Damn, Jrue Holiday.
Wow.
Jason Tatum is just
because he's gonna lock up Luka.
Ooh.
He's gonna get the Andre Iguodala Finals MVP.
Yes.
All right.
Lock him up.
Not the Andre Iguodala.
That was different.
Hey, I mean, yeah, I like that.
Way to keep him on the toes, Alex. Way to keep him on the toes.
Never let him know.
Kevin, right now we have a panel that is 2 for Boston winning the championship again, 1 for LA. Kind of got a feeling based on the jersey that you're going to end up going and evening the panel. And even Uncle Manny says, I think it's Lakers versus Cavs finals. Lakers win it in 6 games. And so with Uncle Manny's vote, I mean, we could also throw in Osmosis Jones, which would lead to another split. Anyways, Kevin, please tell us your picks and why.
All right, so we have the Thunder versus the Lakers in the conference finals. OKC, KFC, AFC, Lakers in 6. Okay, final or conference finals MVP. I don't want to hear no Luka. I don't want to hear no Austin Reeves. I don't want to hear no Dalton Connect. We all know who gets the fucking hardware. This is not a Jason Tatum story. All right, we know who goes home with the hardware. Okay, so LeBron James, conference finals MVP. We then have the Celtics versus Cavaliers. I'm going to take the Cavs in 6. I think this is where the Celtics kind of fall apart. You know, we've seen them get to this point many times and collapse. We saw them get to the mountaintop twice, or mountaintop be in the finals, and we saw them win it once. Alex and Toddy will tell you, there's been a lot of times where the conference finals was the peak of the season. With that being said, I got Donovan Mitchell winning Conference Player of the Year or Conference Player of the Year, Eastern Conference Player, and then we have the Lakers versus the Cavs, and then we have the Lakers in 6. Lakers in 6, and we have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 Finals MVPs for LeBron James. There's no way in hell if the Lakers are going to win an NBA championship, it's not going to be because of LeBron James. I get it. Luka's the new shiny toy. Everyone knows who that team runs through. LeBron fucking James. And they're going to win it all. LeBron, what are you going to do? And he's going to do this. Luka,
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I'm out of here. Bryce, I'm sorry, brother. I don't got 4 years in me. I'm out of here. Bronny, congratulations. You got a ring.
Man, that really would.
What do you call a waitress?
That really would be a storybook ending. And the only reason why I don't think that LeBron is going to retire after this season, even after a championship win, is because I think he is dead set on being able to play with Bryce. Because every time that they've asked him about it, he's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, it's gonna be a while."
4 years, Sean.
Wait,
another 4 years.
Bryce is not gonna go one and done, brother.
Is this year 22 for
Bronny did.
Bronny was also McDonald's All-American.
Okay.
Is this year 22 or 23?
22.
Yeah, he's done after this year. If they win, he's done. Or maybe he'll come back for like a goodbye tour.
Bronny getting
look. Okay, Kevin, even as one of his biggest fans, you could agree with this, that LeBron is an egotist. To come back for year number 23, considering that he has worn 23 throughout his career except for in Miami, and then to have a farewell tour, have everyone salute him. He wants his Kobe tour. And so,
does he need it though?
Does he need it though? Nope. Does he want
22 years of excellence, 4 MVPs, 5 finals MVPs, 5 championships.
Okay, name off Kobe stuff too while you at it.
You said what?
I mean,
name off Kobe stuff because Kobe wanted one too.
Oh, you mean Robin?
Oh gosh,
Kobe only has 5 because of Shaq.
Okay, we're not doing.
Well, it's too late to be getting into arguments right now.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Well, but also, Kevin, something that you need to keep in mind is that LeBron has been chasing MJ his entire career. And so if he gets to 5 this year and has an opportunity to come back for one more season alongside an emerging Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic and playing for a coach that he really likes, you don't think he wants to at least give it a shot to go for 6?
No, because 5 would be crazy as it is. 5, if them winning 5 is LeBron James remember what year was that? Before they played the Warriors, they were celebrating the Eastern Conference, and LeBron's sitting down with a towel over his head because he's gassed. If LeBron's getting 5, he's done. He at the end of that award, he's gonna take his Finals MVP and just lay down because
he should have had 8 by now.
He's gonna put it on. I mean, hey, if the best players in the world got to team up to beat him, it's hard to get 8.
I'm not talking about just that, but okay.
I mean, there's no way that the Cavs should have made the finals in 2007. And then, they fumbled the bag against Dallas in 2011. And then they lose to the end of the Spurs dynasty in 2014. We could dissect every single LeBron finals run, but he is greatness personified. And the reason why I don't think that he's going to retire after this season, championship or not, is the thought of playing with Bryce, but also the fact that he is still playing at such a tremendous level. Yeah, he's had his blips where he has a bad game, and then people want to put that all over Twitter and be like, is LeBron really still that good? Yes, he's still that damn good. And LeBron has the clout to even just sit on the bench and have a season where he's kind of just coasting. I don't think LeBron would want that for himself, but I do think that he still wants the chance to play with Bryce, which would be 2 years from now. Well, yeah, it would be 2 years from now because we would have to wait for Bryce to play one college season, and then he would go.
You think Bryce goes one and done?
Oh, good.
No. One and done because it's good enough, or one and done because he wants to play with his dad?
Yes. Yes.
I understand that then. Okay.
But also, if you're Bryce or even the James family making that decision, would you rather stay in college for 2, 3, 4 years or be a two-way player in the NBA and start getting that experience right away? Because as we saw with Bronny, like people like to disrespect Bronny. Bronny's been playing well in the G League, hasn't been playing that great in the NBA, but Bryce could follow that same path. He could be the 60th pick, a la Isaiah Thomas. But we'll leave that for another day. That does it for episode 140 of Stats Over Politics. We appreciate you all for tuning in. That does it for our NBA playoff preview. And make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. If you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on X at Stats or Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned into episode 140 of Stats Over Politics. For the crew, Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent, Alex Dent. Shout out to Kaz Johnson of Kazzy Bear TV. I've been your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday on another episode of Stats Over Politics. Peace.
Peace.